Hello students, in today's session we will discuss derivation for Pascal's law. In the last session I have discussed what is the statement of Pascal's law, and it is stated that in a fluid at rest condition, if we selected one point, it will experience or it will gives us a pressure intensity which will be equal in all the directions. What I said, if I have taken a fluid in its rest condition, and at one point in that fluid, at one point, if I check intensity of pressure, it will be equal in all the directions, and that's what I'm gonna derive today with this help of derivation. Okay, so let's start. Here I stated, or I am assuming a arbitrary fluid element of wedge shape. Wedge shape means what? You can see over here I have drawn a triangular shape over here, that is what we call with a thickness of 1 or unity. Okay, and it is rest in a fluid mass in its rest condition. जो भी मैंने यहाँ पे fluid element consider किया है which is of wedge shape is actually in a fluid mass at its rest condition, Now let the width of element be unity, which I already mentioned you. This is the triangular shape which has a width of unity. Alright. Now on this diagram I have shown many arrows and I have named it with the help of x, y and z axis. Okay, let's understand what those arrows means to us. So here Px, Py, Pz be the pressure acting on the faces AB, AC and BC respectively, which are the axis. On axis AB, pressure X is acting. On axis parallel to the x-axis named as AC. On that pressure Py. You should remember that or notice that I am saying pressure, I am not saying force. Pressure is what? Force per unit area. Therefore, I am saying pressure. Okay, and last on third edge, which is BC. On that, the pressure acting is Pz. So on edge AB, P force is acting, Px. Then on edge AC, Py force is acting, and on edge BC, the Pz force is acting. Alright. If I assume, next what I am assume is angle between what? A, B, C. Here this angle is assumed to be theta. Okay, so we made two assumptions over here. First assumption is that on the wedge shape element which I considered for my derivation is applied with three different pressures in x, y and in z direction, and it's our assumption that they are acting on AB, AC and BC edges respectively, and then we assume the angle made by two sides of this wedge element, one side is AB, second side is BC, that angle is assumed to be a theta. And let's go next. Now forces acting on the element. As we said, there is a pressure on element, on that fluid element, arbitrary fluid element, but whatever we calculate with the help of forces. If we want to check the equilibrium of that element, which we will understand it, or we will analyze it with the help of forces, right? Therefore, whatever pressure acting on these three edges of your arbitrary element, on these three edges, whatever pressure is acting is converted into the forces. So forces on face AB will be equals to, what is pressure? Pressure will be force per unit area, right? If we multiply it with its actual area, area will get cancelled, and whatever remains will be a pure force, and that's what I am doing over here. To calculate force acting on AB on this edge, I taken a pressure on it in x direction, which is Px, and multiply it with the area of face AB. Now check here. To calculate area of face AB, you should consider this square or rectangle. You should go into this area which is defined by that rectangular piece. How to calculate area of it? Now let consider that the length or the height between B to A is dy. A small length from A to C is dx, and along this length BC, the length assume is dz. Alright, now come back to here. I want to know what is the area of this triangle, and I know the height of that rectangle I am assuming is dy. Now, as I said before, I am assuming the thickness of this arbitrary fluid element is unit. Therefore, I can get my area, I can calculate my area as dy into length of 1 unit. That's what I wrote, dy into length which is of 1 or unit. Once we calculate force on face AB, we should repeat it in the similar way for face AC and BC. What will be force pressure acting on AC? Pressure acting on AC is Py. This Py into what will be a area? Area of this rectangle. What is the area? This length is dx into thickness is 1 meter. Similarly, I wrote below Py into dx into 1. Now I want a force on face BC. That will be equals to how much? Pressure in z direction into area of face BC. Pressure in z direction, we already assume it is Pz into area of force in BC, which will be dz into 1, as we did in previous two cases. Once we know the forces, we will come to calculate weight of the element, because see, I am assuming this triangular arbitrary wedge, right? And if it is a I understand it is very small element, still that carries some weight, and which will be acting in a downward direction. So we need to consider that weight. And how to calculate weight? You already know with the physical properties of fluid, we understood that weight of an element can be equals to volume into density, right? Or what is density? Density will be equals to how much? Density is mass per unit volume. Okay, and if I said it is weight density, it will be weight by volume. If I multiply it with with volume, I will come to know what is weight of that element. To understand that, let's see here. I assume that volume of a element is V and weight density gamma is here. Okay, is represented by gamma. Now volume will be what? Volume will be area of this surface, right, into thickness, which is already known to us, 1 or unit. If I said it is a unit width element, area into 1 will represent volume. Area of this surface into a unit width. Understood? Therefore, I wrote volume in terms of area as 1 into A into gamma. Gamma is a density. Now, area I can calculate. What is the area of a triangle? Triangle area will be 1/2 AC, 1/2 AB into AC, 1/2 AB into AC. What will be AC? AC is defined as, length of a AC is defined as dx earlier, whereas length or height AB will be wrote as dy. That's what I said. AC is dx and AB is dy into 1 into gamma as it is. Now simplify it and you will get dx into dy into gamma divided by 2. Alright. So we have calculated forces acting across that wedge element, as well as we have calculated weight of that element. Next is, consider the triangle as shown in figure. Now that figure is below here. You can see here. This is the figure. Okay, I have considered the triangle ABC. Triangle ABC is with me. Now, what is cos theta and sin theta in this triangle? See here carefully. Okay. In this triangle, I assumed earlier the angle between AB and BC is theta. Angle between AB and BC is equals to theta, right? If this angle is theta, and I want to interpret the angle between this inclined force to the vertical, how much that angle, how we will interpret it? See here, the angle between, one second, yes, the angle between this is theta, so alternate angle will be theta. Alternate angle will be theta. Therefore, this angle become theta. If I take an inclined force acting at it, then this remaining angle will be 90 minus theta. Will be 90 minus theta. I hope you are getting. I will repeat it one more time. I assume the angle between these two faces, A, B and C. That angle is theta. Therefore, alternate angle will be theta as well. If I take an inclined force perpendicular at that point, this is total 90, and if out of that 90, one part is theta, the remaining part will be 90 minus theta. 90 minus theta. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Now, once I come to know this angle is theta, that will be helpful to go for further calculation. Right now, see here, if I want to calculate cos theta, okay, cos theta of this angle, cos theta will be what? Adjacent divided by hypotenuse. What is adjacent over here? AB. Hypotenuse is BC. That's what I wrote over here. Then I simplified it. How I simplified it? See here. BC, this BC into cos theta, BC into cos theta. Why cos theta? Because BC is taken on this side and BC into cos theta is equals to AB. Now, what the length of BC is? The length of BC is DZ. DZ is replaced with BC and we come to know, and AB is replaced with dy because AB is dy. Therefore, we come to know that dz cos theta is equals to dy. Similarly, I did for sin theta. Sin theta will be AC divided by BC. Opposite divided by hypotenuse. AC divided by BC. Simplify it and you will get dx is equals to dz sin theta. Now I am taking little help of mechanics. I want to resolve the forces. Inclined force into perpendicular and horizontal forces. How we will do that? See here. I am resolving the forces in x direction, x and y direction. How I am doing it? This is the inclined force acting on your surface BC, correct? And if that force is need to be resolved, we will resolve it like this in x direction and in y direction, correct? Now what will be the magnitude of resolved forces? How do we calculate that? I am already explained this angle is 90 minus theta. This angle is 90 minus theta. And if I am resolving the forces, I should not consider pressure at that point. We should not consider pressure at that point, but we should transfer it into or convert it into forces. Okay, and I already did that. I transfer this pressure forces into this pressure into force. How we will do that? See here. Pz into dz into 1. What is Pz? Pz is a pressure acting across that surface which we assume, but into dz will be a area of that surface. We did this earlier over here. See, pressure force acting across AB, AC and BC. I am just writing these forces on that triangle shown over here. Okay, so similarly I have forces on 3 of the faces, and I also explained this angle is 90 minus theta. Whatever remains is part of analysis in x and y direction. So see here, summation fx I am doing with the help of the same triangle. Okay, summation fx equals to 0 means all the forces acting in x direction, the magnitude of it, somehow the magnitude of it is becomes 0. How? Because they balance each other, and total force or resultant force acting on a body is considered to be 0. Alright. So summation of fx means forces in a x direction, and we have to summarize it, do the summation of all the forces in x direction. So this is first force in x direction, and this is second force. All other forces, weight and this one, these three forces are part of vertical force system, right? Only the two forces acting in horizontal direction is Pz and Px. So let's summarize it. Px into dy into 1 minus, because it's in opposite direction, minus Pz into dz into 1 into sine 90 minus theta. How I splitted our forces into two direction? Our inclined force is splitted into x direction, as magnitude will be remain same, only the change is sine 90 minus theta. Now if I define the angle, on that side we will take cos, and where the angle is uncertain, we don't know, on that side we will write sine theta. That's how I used this is you have already learned from the mechanics. I'm just reviewing it for you, just one more time revision, that on the which side angle is known to us, on that side you check cos theta, and the one on which you don't know what angle is, on that side is sine theta you take, and magnitude of force remains same. Alright, now I did summation of it, summation of fx equals to 0, px dy into 1, this force, and it is opposite in direction with minus sign. Alright, once you do that, you should now have to do simplification of it. How to do simplification? This will remain as it is, but look at here, sine 90 minus theta. What will be sine 90 minus theta? It will be cos theta. Therefore px dy into 1 minus pz dz into 1 cos theta is equals to 0. But we have already defined something about cos theta. What we did that? See here, dz cos theta is equals to dy, and dz sin theta is equals to dx. Take a look over here. I am using dz cos theta over here. Can I rewrite it as equals to dy? Yes, I can. I already explained it earlier. So px, it is as it is, and instead of dz cos theta I am using dy, and rest is same. So px dy into 1, pz dy into minus pz dy into 1 is equals to 0. If I take this on other side, that will become positive, dy will get cancelled, and what I remains with is a pressure acting in x direction is equals to pressure acting in z direction. That is our equation number 1. Similarly, we have to prove for other pair. Which other pair is? Px is equals to Py. How we will do that? In a same way. Now, I have used only one equilibrium condition, summation fx equals to 0. Now I will use summation fy is equals to 0. Therefore px with same diagram, look into this diagram. How many are the vertical forces? 1 at this point, 1 is taking in the upward direction, and weight of this element which we already calculated, which is in a direction of downward. Okay, now summarize these three forces and equate it with 0. That's our next task. First vertical force, then downward force is taken negative, and weight is also acting downward in direction, therefore I have assumed it negative. Where you have calculated weight, you can observe here. That's why I have calculated weight of the element. Weight of the element, dx into dy into gamma divide by 2. This is the weight, and this is the vertically downward component, this is vertically upward component. After that, Py into dx into 1 pz into dz into 1 into cos 90 minus theta. Now dx into dy by 2 into 1 into rho into g. What is this now? Because I have changed gamma to rho g. I have changed weight density to mass density. Okay. Rho into g. Alright, everything else is same. See here. Rest is remain same. Only the change is gamma. Alright. Now py dx into 1, this is as it is. Now cos 90 minus theta, that I wrote sin theta. Alright, and I hope you're good with the trigonometrical formulas. That will help you over here. Next is dx into dy divided by 2 into rho into g is equals to 0. Okay, but ds sin theta is equals to dx, which is already explained in the terms of sin theta. I stated already something that I'm gonna use over here. dx dz है ये, dz into sin theta will be dx. I am putting that into equation. That will be become dx. Okay, that remains same. Here little change. And what I am saying about this, see here. And also element is very small and hence weight is negligible. What I said, I am talking about this weight of the element. Weight of the element is considered very, as the element is very small, the weight of it carry can be negligible. You can neglect it. Therefore, the only term remains is this 2. Instead of dz sin theta, you can write dx. And if you take it on other side, you will come to know py is equals to pz. Alright, this is our equation number 2. Once we check that equation 1 and 2, from equation 1 and 2, px is equals to py is equals to pz, because in first equation I said px is equals to pz, and here I am saying pz is equals to what? Py. So simply I can say px is equals to py is equals to pz. Now get into this note what I said. The above equation shows that the pressure at any point in x, y, z direction is equal. Since the choices, how I said, I stated in the Pascal's law earlier in the previous session that whatever pressure acts on an element at rest condition, fluid should be in a rest condition. And at that rest condition, if I took one element inside that fluid, then pressure on all the directions is, pressure intensity in all direction is equal. That's what I proved, that pressure intensity in x, y and z direction remains same or it is equal. Now, since the choice of fluid element was completely arbitrary, मतलब क्या हुआ कि अभी तो हमने एक element के लिए define किया और derive किया that px, py and pz is equal. But what if I consider another element in another place? Does this law or this Pascal what stated is valid for other element also which is somewhere else in that fluid? Yes, because since the choice of fluid was completely arbitrary मतलब कहीं से भी लिया हुआ है ये, that means the pressure at any point is same in all direction, So all right, here your derivation ends for Pascal's law. Hereafter, you have to write down this law into your notebook along with this derivation, and we will try to solve some sums and numericals based on this concept. Thank you so much.